Jamie Vardy, From Nowhere, My Story, by Jamie Vardy. Read by Stephen Kynman. Prologue. Jamie Vardy's having a party. I reached into the thin blue carrier bag, pulled out the first can of Stella and cracked it open. It was 11 a.m. on Bank Holiday Monday. The streets around Leicester City centre were quiet, and for the next 7 hours, a needle loaded with ink was going to be jabbing into my ribs, stomach, hips and back. A 4-pack was my anaesthetic. There was a close sign in the window of Blue Ink Tattoo Studio on Belgrave Gate, but they'd agreed to open for a private appointment I'd been trying to organise for weeks. The owner had a day off after scoring the equaliser at Manchester United 24 hours earlier, but Wes Morgan's staff made me feel right at home as I sipped on the beer they'd picked up for me from the off-licence around the corner. A couple of passers-by did a double-take as they glanced through the window and saw me perched on a stool in the reception area, running my eyes over the pocket watch design that had been drawn up to mark the birth of my daughter, Sophia. I couldn't help thinking that it looked a touch more professional than my first tattoo, which was done in someone's living room in Sheffield and cost me £25. I took off my T-shirt and walked into one of the treatment rooms, set up my iPad on a little table and watched 3 live matches, Walsall v Fleetwood, Brighton v Derby and Burnley v QPR, back to back, grimacing and wincing as my skin sweated blood. There was one more game to tune into later in the day, but I needed to be out of the tattooist's chair and at home when that kicked off. It was Chelsea v Tottenham Hotspur at Stamford Bridge, and by the time Christian Fuchs and Robert Huth picked me up just after 6 p.m. to head back to Melton Mowbray, the internet was rife with reports that Jamie Vardy's having a party. So much for the plan we'd made at Old Trafford to keep things secret. Wes was on the phone to me in the afternoon, more interested in discussing the arrangements for later than receiving an update on my tattoo. The captain wanted to make sure that every player was comfortable with Leicester's media team coming along to film and photograph any title-winning celebrations should Tottenham fail to beat Chelsea. In the end, we agreed to let a few of them attend a party that may as well have been advertised on flyers, because there were that many people camped outside my home and craning their necks to look over the boundary wall. Inside the house, half a dozen lads were scattered around the television screen in the kitchen, while the rest set up camp in the snug room as bottles of beer were passed around, along with the odd glass of whiskey to calm the nerves. I was lying on the floor, eating nibbles and trying to get into a position where my tattoo would cause me the least discomfort. Everybody was chilled and relaxed until kick-off. Then we put our Chelsea shirts on and may as well have been sitting in a city centre pub as we screamed at the TV, "Send him off, ref!" after any Spurs foul. Every swear word under the sun came out as Harry Kane rounded Asmir Begovic to open the scoring. And when Spurs doubled their lead just before half-time, it killed the atmosphere dead. Well, this was worth sorting out, I said to Wes. It had turned into no more than a bank holiday piss-up for the lads, and we could all imagine the headlines the next day about Tottenham spoiling our party, complete with photos of glum-faced players leaving my house. Chelsea looked dead and buried, and our minds were already turning to the home game against Everton on Saturday. "We'll just have to finish the job then," said a few of the lads, trying to raise spirits. Yet just before the hour mark, everything changed. Willian took a corner and Gary Cahill beat Hugo Lloris with a left foot shot that transformed the mood. "Fucking get in!" All of a sudden, it was game on. We weren't just Chelsea supporters anymore. We were playing for Gus Hiddink's team, trying to touch home Eden Hazard's low cross at one end and block Christian Eriksen's shot at the other. Then it happened. Hazard picked up the ball wide on the left, wriggled past a couple of players, rolled a pass into Diego Costa, got it back and... fucking hell! With one fantastic swing of his right boot, the Chelsea number 10 curled the ball into the top corner and Melton Mowbray had liftoff. People were running everywhere. Riyad Mahrez and Matty James skipped through a stairgate to join a pile of bodies hugging one another. I took the shortcut and somersaulted from the kitchen to the sofa in the snug room, a move not seen since I scored on the opening day against Sunderland. And Marcin Vasilevsky was dragging Wes around the kitchen by his ankle.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?